I never played basketball. I got cut from every team. As a kid, I was the type of athlete, I wasn't even an athlete, where you'd line up people and you'd pick teams. Well, neither team wanted to pick me. What do you want to do? You want to keep score? Sure.
Levine, topside three, yes! Big time onions!
When you grow up in Chicago and you listen to the radio, especially in the car like I used to do with my dad, sports was always on. So Chuck's voice has always been, to me, synonymous with Chicago sports.
For the win, got it again! DeMar DeRozan, Happy New Year! Put back at the buzzer, got it! The basketball gods love the Bulls!
I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia. My father was a decorated United States naval officer. My mom was a school teacher. My parents really weren't sports fanatics. My dad loved to mess around with the car or change a leaky pipe, but my mom was probably the one who kind of instilled in me just do your own thing and be comfortable with who you are and what you want to become. I went to a baseball game when I was about 4. All I remember is white uniforms, red hats, bases that looked like big pillows. Players were running around and people were cheering, and I got hooked. And I got hooked big time. The teachers sensed that I wanted to be a broadcaster. They would let me read the daily bulletin over the public address system at school. My father passed away when I was in the 6th grade, and my mom's brother, my uncle, knew of a family in Baltimore, and he was the sports director at WBAL TV. I would spend summers with the Vince Bagley family. I would go to Orioles games. He was the first person I can honestly say who left an indelible mark on my career. My first true job was at WBNS in Columbus, but that lasted only 6 months because a headhunter called and said, there's a radio station that's interested in you. When can you start? You're coming to Chicago.
So I'm listening to the radio here. It's like on a Sunday night on 1000. And I hear this guy come on, and he's just incredibly enthusiastic, bubbling over, and he's talking about sports. I'm thinking, who is this guy? What is this?
In 1981, I think I was 14 years old, and my friends and I called into WGN Sports Radio, and we got on the air with Chuck Swirsky, and we were so excited. We thought it was the greatest thing ever. His knowledge of sports is incredible. I've never met anyone who knows more about sports than Chuck Swirsky.
I love the electricity of the city, the vibrancy. When I think of Chicago, I think of the foundation of the hardworking women and men that made this city into the greatest city in the world. After I left WCFL, I went to the Loop and did morning, afternoon drive, and during that period of time, I became the public address announcer for the Bulls.
Chuck's name was always around Chicago. As a guy that came here in '85 and played, you knew who Chuck was and you knew his voice. It's his enthusiasm for the game, first and foremost, but the organization that he works for.
Jim Durham was the play-by-play announcer, and Jim and I got to be very, very close. Jim said, you know, if you want to do this, you've got to get into a situation where you do a lot of events. More than just basketball. Do football, do soccer, do baseball, do everything you can. Covered the Super Bowl champs of '85. That club, without any doubt, was the most unique team I've ever been around. I mean, you could go right in the locker room and there is Jim McMahon, and then all of a sudden you'll see Mike Singletary and Dan Hampton. And oh, by the way, that's Walter Payton, the greatest football player I've ever seen in my life. Then in 1994, I received a call to do the play-by-play for the University of Michigan. They won the '97 national championship. Tom Brady was a reserve quarterback. That was an unbelievable club. Then I went to the Raptors.
I first met Chuck in Toronto. My dad signed a 3-year deal with the Raptors. He always treated me and my brother with so much love and energy when we were coming around the team and all that, so he was a great ambassador for us kind of getting comfortable. I always look forward to seeing him in the back hallways and reminisce on the journey.
When he walks into Scotiabank and people see him, they yell out his catchphrases. They yell out the things that they remember the most.
Chuck gets a welcome from the crowd. They stand and acknowledge him. I've really never seen anything quite like that.
In 2006, Kobe Bryant scored 81 points against the Raptors on a Sunday night at Staples.
This place is absolutely in a party zone right now, celebrating Kobe Bryant with 81 points.
Every time the Raptors and then the Bulls played a Kobe Bryant team, he would always set aside 5 minutes of his time to come over and talk to me either in the locker room of the Lakers, out at the United Center, or in Canada. In Toronto, I had two outstanding partners. Leo Rautins was a spectacular player at Syracuse, and he knows the game as well as anyone. And then, of course, Jack Armstrong, the coach. He was colorful, and he had that Brooklyn accent. Keon Clark would be blocking shots. Get that garbage out of here.
What makes Chuck great is his enthusiasm, his energy. He's a student of the game. He has a love affair with the sport of basketball. He just has a great, infectious vibe to him. There was a lot of question of whether the NBA would actually make it in Canada. I think Chuck Swirsky played a huge role into luring people into watching the Raptors. I don't think we realize how big an impact a broadcaster can make. But if a guy could, it was Chuck.
I got a call from Steve Shamwald in May of 2008. Would you be interested in coming back to Chicago?
I knew Chuck pretty well, and I'd seen his work in Toronto. What I wanted was somebody who had enthusiasm for the game, who loved the game, and who would bring enthusiasm to the broadcast. Chuck really filled that bill. I mean, there's nobody that has more energy, more excitement than Chuck Swirsky does.
Chuck was starting to come into his own as the radio voice of the Bulls. His description, his energy, his passion, it all came out. And that was such a great blueprint for a 20, 21, 22-year-old kid who was trying to figure out how to do this.
We make the move to Chicago. And just like the move to Toronto featuring Vince Carter, I joined an organization that had just won the lottery, and they were on the verge of selecting Derrick Rose. And it was magic.
Kane with the deflection in the steal, down the floor, caught up, right-handed mine! Derrick Rose, are you flat out kidding me? What elevation! Derrick Rose with a nasty slam from Ronnie Brewer.
Joakim Noah with a steal and a slam in Game 6, 2009 playoffs.
Stop and go, dribble drive, hits pass, deflected, stolen by Noah. Noah on the runway, Noah with a right-handed dunk, counted the foul. I don't believe what I just saw.
I love Joakim Noah. I hope you put this in. I love Joakim Noah. He is my guy.
Chuck is someone with so much passion and so much charisma. He loves what he does.
On Bulls TV, we're joined by the soul of the Chicago Bulls, Joakim Noah.
The NBA schedule is tough. So when you're around people who have that kind of love and passion for the game, it's contagious. Nothing but love for this guy. Every time I see Chuck, it puts a smile on my face.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Chuck Attack.
It's good to know that your home broadcasters are there for you and will support you as a player and a team no matter what's happening.
No matter how bad you play, I never heard Chuck saying something bad about any player. He was around a lot of my foundation events. Thanksgiving dinner, that was one of his favorite events, but it was also for me, I loved having him around. But I think for him also, being a part of it meant a lot to him, you know, to give back.
I just want to be around the guy. Everybody was in this together, and he was just like one of the guys. This was bigger than just the team and the guys. Like, Chuck was part of the team.
You have to have a love for what you do to come to shoot-arounds on the road when you really don't have to be there. Just to be around, to maybe get to know guys a little bit better, to get like a little story maybe that others don't have.
Coming to the arenas early, you know, I'm talking, when I say early, I'm talking 8 o'clock in the morning and then staying all day long at an arena, you know, getting his notes in preparation. I've never seen that.
He is a gym rat. I mean, he's there early, he's there late, he goes to practices. But it's all about putting information into his head. What he's doing is he's building up an encyclopedia-type knowledge of the game and what's going on around the game.
You know, the respect that he gets throughout because of the love and respect that he gives to people.
You have to have trust. They have to trust you. You have to trust them. That becomes solid. And now Bill, my main man Bill. Bill is Tom Hanks in the movie Big. He is a 7-foot big kid.
Abbott and Costello, Martin and Lewis, Laurel and Hardy, they're opposites. You know, Bill's a player. Chuck is as far from a player as anyone ever has been who's been involved in sports.
I've talked to him several times about, I think we could have a great sports comedy talk show where I'm a ventriloquist and he could sit on my lap and we could talk about sports and I'll be the dumb guy. He could be the smart guy and make fun of me. His broadcasts are amazing because his memory is all-knowing and he's able to recall it like that. It's just amazing that way, but he's high energy all the time, so it's fun. So even when the Bulls are struggling a little bit, his energy's right there, so he really pulls me along with him.
This is entertainment. This is basketball, I get it. But I want Bill's humor. I want Bill's soul to come through the radio. And he does that nightly, and that really is a gift.
He loves basketball, and he loves what he's doing, and he's going to go out and give 100%.
It's no different than a great athlete who works hard. Everyone thinks that players like Michael Jordan that just showed up, but really they worked their butts off to get to where they are.
I want to make sure that each and every game I'm better than the previous game. And that's what drives me. And I don't care if it's a snowy Tuesday in Cleveland or whether or not we're in Miami and it's 80 degrees for a playoff game. I want to make sure that that's the best possible broadcast, period.
You know, we spend so much time celebrating great players and great coaches. Players and coaches come and go. A lot of times the connection from one generation to the next generation to another generation is through the broadcast.
I want you to feel what I feel about this great game.
Launches the right side three. Bam!
That's what Chuck brings through to a broadcast.
Chuck brings the game to life, especially when it's a home game and the United Center's rocking. You feel it.
Got it! Back to back to back, jacked! Timeout, Indiana!
You want to be able to feel a radio broadcast because you can't see it. And the thing that Chuck does, as well as any person I've ever met in my life, is connect people from the arena and the game to their couch or to their car. They're looking for connectivity, and Chuck is one of the best to ever do that.
Charlie, you know I love you, and I have absolutely loved the past 15 years. Congratulations.
25 years and your 2000th broadcast. What a wonderful achievement.
15 incredible years with the Chicago Bulls, 10 with the Raptors. All the best. I love you, buddy.
25 years, 2,000 broadcasts. They said it couldn't be done. You did it. I knew you could. I knew you would. Congratulations.
Everything you've done over the course of your career, everything you've done for people like me, congratulations on a quarter of a century doing this job at the highest possible level.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you as a friend. I appreciate all that you bring to the Chicagoland community. Thank you.
Chuck, congratulations on your 2000th broadcast and your 25 years in the booth. It's really a remarkable accomplishment.
I just want to say congratulations, man. Nobody does it like you.
Happy 2000. Wow. 2000, like Lou Gehrig, baby. 2000, oh Lord. I think I'm at like 500, woo!
Just want to say thank you for always being such a nice human being and making it easier to be around you always. Congrats, man, you deserve it all.
Chuck Attack, this is your boy Sticks. 25 years, man. That's a big accomplishment. We love you and we're proud of you, man. Peace.
You always have to be positive, and you have to have a purpose, you have to have the passion, and you have to persevere. The 4 Ps I try and live my life just that. I'm going to give you a quote that a blues singer, Dick Mackey, gave me when I was broadcasting in Columbus. You better take care of your homework, because if you don't, somebody will. That has resonated in my heart, soul, my whole being, and my DNA for decades. If I show up for a game and I don't do my work, then I'm not doing my job. And I'm letting down my organization. I'm letting down the Reinsdorf family. I'm letting down the fans. I am letting down myself. There are no shortcuts in life. I don't believe in shortcuts. I don't believe in anything other than you do hard work, you give it your best, and boom.
Okay, let's rock and roll.
What's up, Bulls fans? For more, click here.